foremost, these three gentlemen on your screen should just take a bow. We should all take a moment across the land to say thank you for giving us much needed, entertaining, quality content. Let's talk to producer director of the film, Jesse Quinones. We talked to executive producer and featured player Jay Rizzo. We talked to the star, John Moxley. My name is Matt Stryker. Jesse, I'm going to start with you. Your immediate feelings now that you've seen your baby be born.
I mean, it's incredible. This is 5 years in the making, and to be able to finally share it, with the world, a story that I'm incredibly passionate about. It feels great. And big shout out to the producing team, Shane Putzlocker and Sarah Shack, who is the driving force. I think that John Moxley and Jay. I mean, I'm just so it's an honor to kind of work with such talented individuals. So yeah.
Listen to I can feel the humility in your voice. That's when you really know that someone is a true performer and an artist, but also has a lot more left. I want to talk to Mox now here. I see you. You're still brooding. You are still your character. How do you feel?
Pretty good, man. I thought it was the first thing I said when I watched it was I was just like, well, that was like really easy to watch. That was fun. Like it was just a fast-paced, like quick, lighthearted and fun and easy to watch, and then dramatic at times. And I thought the fight scenes all came off really cool, which I was really happy about. And I'm pretty pleased with the whole thing, man. I was like very, and I thought everybody did a really good job, especially, Alex really held it down with like that kind of likable charisma kind of thing, made you want to root for him kind of through the whole thing, and it really held it down. And Chuck did really good as the gruff, experienced trainer. And I wouldn't tell him to his face, but Jay did really good, as a believable kind of podcast guy. I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but
shifty.
Kind of
shifty.
Yeah, shifty podcast guy. Yeah. Like really pulled that off well. Like I really believe I could really buy that was you and not you yourself. I could really buy that you're the character you're playing. I thought everybody did a really good job. The guy who plays Alex's manager too, I thought was maybe like the star actor of the whole thing. He was just like so fast on everything, really came off like a real fast-paced talking manager type. And just thought everybody did really good and the spotlight they were given.
Yeah, absolutely. It was cast well. It was executed well. I mean, Mox, talking to you now, like you just always are intense. You wait on your next word. Jay, executive producer, you had some pivotal scenes here in this movie. Talk to me a little bit about your thoughts right now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's exciting that the day has finally come, that it's out. And, you're talking before about how everybody kind of embracing it. You can see that John's a character actor. He hasn't even brushed his hair here. He's ready to go. Yeah, I mean, it's an exciting day for everyone. And, just really proud that it's all come together. And like, there were so many hiccups that people don't even know about as far as, getting this movie out and changing of schedules and things like that. So to see it finally done and like I said, to have the role that I played in it, Stephen Drake, I just, to me, it was a really cool role because it was a pivotal role. It was an important role, but it was also a role that didn't overstay its welcome, in my opinion, and was there for some pretty key scenes and some big turning points in the movie. So I was very proud to be able to bring that character to life.
Yeah.
So now, Jesse, back to you, because the whole entire thing comes from the term in wrestling, your pencil, essentially. This was your vision. You booked this thing all the way through to its still used terms. How do you see now that it is over? You saw how it is finished. Do you sit back and how do you feel about the product?
I'm really proud of it. Like obviously there were bumps along the way, and we try to make something that was entertaining, but that also was, full of heart, and that's a kind of a tough, chord to strike. But I'm really proud of it. I thought the actors, they all brought it. They all kind of really brought three-dimensional performances, and I think that now I just like for both wrestling fans and MMA fans and just people that love fight movies and people that just love drama. I'm excited to kind of put it out into the world and for people to watch it and receive it and kind of in the same spirit that I created it in, you know?
It's just amazing. And the perfect segue, you continue to give them to me. So spirit, Mox, you were doing double duty here. You were doing AEW live shows as well as filming.
Yeah, I was going back and forth a few times from Saskatchewan. We were filming to various locations where we're filming Dynamite live. We even had a pay-per-view in there somewhere during that time. So luckily I didn't, and the producer's freaking out, to be honest with you. Totally freaking out because he's scared I was going to get hurt. But I don't know. You gotta just bite down on your mouthpiece, so to speak, and hope for the best sometimes when you got a lot on your plate. I actually ended up fine. One of the things, you're talking about like hiccups and stuff people don't know about. One of the things I don't know if a lot of people know, but I've told the story because I think it's so impressive, was that Alex tore his groin on the second to last day of filming, like really bad, like was torn off his leg. His leg was all black and gross and ugly, and so he couldn't walk. So we had a whole nother day and the climactic fight scene to film with a guy who couldn't walk. And we didn't have any doubles or stunt guys or anything like that to help out. So it was a real kind of collaboration between us and the directors and the producers, and a real credit to the camera guys too, because a lot of times they're the unsung heroes who have to figure out how to shoot stuff. So we were doing everything from like getting GoPros in there to do POVs, and had to kind of reverse engineer the climactic finish because it initially would have looked different, obviously, if Jesse could have been walking across the cage, kicking me in the face and all that, but he couldn't do any of that. So, I mean, he could lean up against the cage, but couldn't walk across the cage. So that's kind of how we figured out a way to get a good, satisfying end of the scene. And they kind of incorporated that injury into the end of it, which I thought was really a creative way to do it. And that dude is, I mean, he's used to, pain and so forth, being a professional fighter, but he really showed his, grit and kind of determination to get through it, because he was in an incredible amount of pain, and he's sitting there on set getting sprayed down with cold water, covered in fake blood, with a torn groin, can't walk, and just like in an incredible amount of pain. He just quite literally just bit down on his mouthpiece and got through it. And probably the end of that whole thing, the last thing we shot was kind of where he's celebrating in the ring with the belt and everything, and making out with his girlfriend and everything. And that probably felt very real to him, like it was finally over, like the whole fight was finally over. I'm sure that was probably easy for him to get into that emotional state, because he's probably like, finally, Jesus Christ, like, I can go home and heal this injury.
Yeah, and I thought you had a great line, like right at the end too, when you kind of like walked past him. It felt ad-libbed, and for those that know you, maybe it was. But Jay, we talk about Alex here. So in pro wrestling, there's a term, you made a guy, and that is if a more famous wrestler goes in with a lesser-known wrestler, and after the match it's so good, the lesser-known wrestler becomes known. Jay, Mox made Alex here in this movie, as well as in our world, as in real life. Talk about what you witnessed and how that felt to watch.
Yeah, well, I mean, Alex, obviously he's an MMA fighter. He wasn't as seasoned as far as acting goes. And like I said, I thought he, like you said, getting in the ring with somebody with more experience than you can, the goal is to elevate each other. That's the goal of a good match, is for both parties to come out of it looking better than they did going in. And I thought that John and Alex really helped each other here in that situation. And sometimes, hey, when you have somebody that's working on a high intense level, the way John does all the time, you can't help but you have to raise your game to match it. You have to, or you'll get left in the dust. And I thought that was a really important key for Alex to find his intensity in this character and really bring it to life also, and make what, the internal struggles that he was having, the doubts that he was having in his mind because of how confident, Randy Stone was. But, going off what you said earlier, as far as John ad-libbing, that was a big part of this movie. And when Jesse and I had some conversations about the script, I told him, I was like, look, you know, the words on the page are great. I said, but if you really want authenticity here from a wrestler standpoint and from how John speaks, how he delivers his emotion, you're better just to let him go. I said, I guarantee you'll get anything, you'll get something better that's written on the page no matter what if you just let him go. And he trusted me on that, and I think that it showed in the movie, and I thought that really came through.
That's an awesome insight, especially from you, Jesse. You have an awareness and a dedication to authenticity of combat sports. You yourself, personally as well as professionally, was there a bit of nervousness to let a guy like Mox go? Because those fight scenes, especially the first fight, it was believable to believe that Randy Stone would be able to beat Reiss the way he did. It gave credibility to the entire notion, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, I think going in, one of the things I really thought was important is, you know, that these fights are 100% believable, that people watching them buy into them completely. And, you know, having two athletes, you know, and I think it was really exciting actually to have all the fighters in the film are actual fighters, and that they're all, you know, they're not, it's not like actors that are doing it, that they all are very experienced with stunts and choreography. And having two seasoned pros, you know, like Moxley and Alex in there, and the other guys as well, Jason Trong and Rob Brennenbaum, it really allowed me to kind of work at such a fast clip, you know. And when things did happen, that kind of like, you know, injuries, I think having people that were so used to kind of reverse engineering moves and things like that allowed us to be really creative. And so, you know, because I really storyboarded the fights, and I wanted to come in as prepared as possible, but on the day, allow the actors to be creative and come up with ideas, and you know, it was really electric you know, during the shoot, to just sort of brainstorm in the moment how to tell these stories through the choreography. And you know, we couldn't go 100% obviously, otherwise people would, you know, be nuts, but we kind of went at about, they were going at probably about 70%, and then through a few little camera tricks that sped things up and little things like that, we were able to make it look like they were going full blast. And yeah, I'm really proud. I'm really happy with the results.
All right, so now this is for all three of you guys. I'll try to direct traffic here, but the question is, there's a lot of alphas on this set. Yeah, you look at it's Luke Rockhold, Chuck Liddell, Mox, Jay, yourself. There's a few other tough guys on the set. Who's the alpha? Who wins in the straight up fight? Jesse, I'm going to you first, man.
I'm gonna defer, man. I'm director. I'm like gonna just
all right, fine. I'll go right. John, Mox won't. Go ahead, John.
No, it's definitely not me. That's for sure. I mean, they definitely. You gotta give it to Chuck Liddell, I guess, right? He's like the Mike Tyson of the world, right? I'm not. Yeah, come on.
Yay.
What's that? I think I established my dominance right away.
Right away.
You know, the funny thing is, for all the like you said, you know, all the accomplished you know, athletes that from other sports, there was no egos. That was the thing. You know, everyone really got along and had a great time doing this. And you know, it was cool. Like, you know, it's funny how when you have people from other sports and you sit down, you start talking shop and swapping stories, how you know, similar they are, even though they're different. So I just you know, it was kind of cool just kind of sitting around and doing that in between shooting. So I think everybody had a lot of fun. Everyone got along really well.
Jesse,
it's probably Gina, to be honest, Matt.
Yeah, right. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah,
Jesse,
that's the answer for sure.
The fact that there was this camaraderie and guys having fun, did it ever concern you that maybe the fight scenes would be altered? Because a lot of times it's almost better to not like who you're throwing a punch at, for lack of a better term.
Sorry, I didn't get the question, Matt.
I said, did you ever wonder, when there's all this camaraderie on the set, if some of the intensity of the fight scenes would be compromised?
No, I mean, I think that, you know, with this, like, that's where the acting comes in. And I think, you know, has to definitely be an element of the fighters taking care of each other. And, you know, one of the things that was amazing is that when, you know, Alex got injured, in order for, you know, he was very badly, his mobility was terrible. Moxley really took care of him that way. And, you know, even the way it ends, you know, where he has to lift him up, that's because Alex couldn't walk. So we're trying to make it in, you know, in such a way that it still felt like a fight, but really it was, you know, John doing a lot of the heavy lifting, and then you through camera angles being able to kind of capture the tension through close-ups and things like that. So I think it actually involved a lot of the fighters taking care of each other and really, you know, being there for each other to make it work, you know?
Well, that's kind of the, am I on here? Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, okay. I don't know how this works. The, that's kind of how pro wrestling works too, is like, you know, well, similar as well. I was pretty comfortable doing this. Is like, you want to get in the mindset of like, this is real. Like before a big match with a dude who I'm in embroiled in a thing with, like I get it in my head. I convince myself that like, this is real, that I hate this guy, that I want to take him out. And I'll walk to the ring with like, I'm 90% sure that I'm going to kill this guy. And that's kind of like the same thing as acting. You see these really good actors and they really can get in the headspace of the character and they kind of become the character. And that's how like the really good actors can make themselves cry and so forth. And can get into the emotions of where the character is at. And you got to do that in wrestling a lot too. So I was trying to stay in that kind of headspace the whole time, that kind of like, this is real. And also at any time he could snap off a kick and knock me out, which I was like, please don't do that. But to keep that intensity up over like a 10, 12 hour period is pretty challenging, because with all the cuts and everything like that, instead of like in wrestling, you just kind of manage your energy all day and hang out and then slowly build up to it. And then you just blow it all off in 20 minutes or whatever. To keep up that same intensity over like 10, 12 hours, that's like the acting part of it. That was a cool kind of challenge to be able to take on. But yeah, a lot of it's real similar. That's why all these things all kind of like all do roll into one and have like similarities, like the fighting stuff and the training stuff, and then wrestling and acting, and like it all kind of like you see how it all blends together, and there's all these similarities to all these worlds, and putting it together, you definitely see how there's all the similarities.
Yeah, man, it's interesting how that must be mentally exhausting, and people out there can understand trying to push that intensity for so long. Jay, in wrestling, you were called Captain Charisma. Yet in this role, you were so far out of your comfort zone, just being this subdued, laid back kind of guy. Was that hard for you to kind of contain yourself?
No, in my everyday life, I'm pretty sloth-like, so it's not that. It's not that hard. You know, you just no. I mean, I think, like you said, you know, when in my real life, I am kind of more of a quiet, kind of easygoing person. I think, you know, I don't know. Some people might say otherwise. I don't know. I just tried to. I just tried to just, you know, get like immersed in the character of what I thought. Like he just seemed like he was a good guy, but had a little bit of shiftiness to him, like talk about earlier, like getting the big scoop was more important to him than having friends. And so, you know, I've talked to a lot of people like that over the course of my career. So I just kind of channeled a lot of those type of people that I always kind of felt like, I feel like this guy's kind of digging for some information here, or trying to get me to say something. So I just kind of, like I said, based it off experience from the past of you know, 20 years of having those types of conversations and interviews.
Yeah. Jesse, Jay's role, I don't know, was it on purpose or purposefully done, where the movie swings and hinges on a lot of the stuff that Jay's character does, and a couple of things that where Luke's character does as well. There are these little trap doors. Was that by design? Because there's a pivotal role with Jay. He plays these revolving doors throughout the movie.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that his Stephen Drake, the character he plays, it's a crucial character within the story, because I kind of wanted it to be like that, where, you know, there's a lot of twists and turns, and it kind of kept the audience guessing. And you know, the Stephen Drake shows where all the kind of the bombshells get dropped, and then that leads into, so like when, you know, Max announces the Randy Reese 1 fight, and then the other interviews, it kind of wanted Jay's character to be the lens where the audience gets to learn stuff, and that basically he's learning about the new news and he's basically transmitting it to the audience. And so in that way, kind of there's a bit of a blurred lines in the way that things happen in real life, like where, in MMA or wrestling, you have loads of prominent podcasts where, they're breaking stories and giving up fans the scoop on what's happening,
It kind of reminded me of the reporter in Die Hard. With the white punches at the end.
Yeah.
Really like obnoxious, just thinks he's real important, trying to get the scoop, really full of himself kind of thing. You want to punch. I didn't really realize how it was all going to come together, but then watching it, kind of when you're doing the interview with me, I didn't really think about it because when we actually filmed it, you weren't actually in the room with me.
Right.
But like that's kind of like really the where the fuse gets lit, where he gets really pissed off. That kind of leads into him going into the press conference and just blowing up everybody, which then probably throws Reiss off his game a little bit, which gives him the opening to knock him out in the first one. So it's it's kind of like a series of events. Like you piss him off in the interview, and then he piss him off in a press conference, and then that unfolded in the fight. So it's like it all kind of started right there. Because it was like, it's kind of like, it's an interesting thing because like in this, like in the first fight anyway, the underdog is the bad guy,
right?
Which is unusual. So it's like, on the one hand, there's a great message in it, like a couple different ways and things you can take from it. Like on the one hand, obviously the main story is, especially during, these times right now, this is why it was cool to have a cool, fun thing to show people and a cool message to send during all this. Is a lot of people are going to have like a lot of holes to dig themselves out of financially and so forth out of this, where they lost their business or their job or however their life changed or whatever. They're going to have a hole to dig out of. And this guy, the worst thing could have possibly happened to him that he couldn't imagine happening happens. Nightmare scenario. And he's got to dig himself all the way back up to the top, which is like such a great message for people to remember that, they're going to have to do the same thing, really, to dig down and not worry that they're at the bottom and just know that it's going to take work to get back up to the top. But it's kind of another message on the other side of it is like this dude, the bad guy, even though he's a total asshole to promote the fight because that's his job, I think like there's kind of more to it that I kind of brought I read that in the script kind of and brought kind of some of that, like that kind of chip on your shoulder thing. Like everybody's telling you can't do something. So somewhere deep down they're like, it's possible. And you're not afraid to fail. Even though it's likely you will. And everybody's making fun of you. And the dude on the show is like making fun of him and trying to make a mockery out of you on TV and so forth. And everybody at the press conference turning into a joke. And like, especially with like social media and stuff the way it is now, like, and the way the media is and stuff, like, a lot of people talk a lot of shit about, like, if you said, I'm gonna go to school to do this, people will be like, oh, you're never gonna do that, you're not smart enough to do that, or I'm gonna do whatever you're gonna do in your life. People will be like, there'll be people that say like, whatever, you'll be back working at Starbucks tomorrow, yeah, right. But like, screw those people, go out and do it. Like, to hell with them. Like, don't listen to take anybody's crap. That's like another message that I didn't even really think of until I watched it, that people could take from it, like from the bad guy of all people.
Interesting, man. No, I think people should understand how deeply you get into these things. And also, as far as redemption, combat sports, fighters in general, there's a bit of like redemption there and all this other stuff. So you bring up a great point. Jay, I want to shift a little bit. People want to know what it's like filming with Gina Gershon.
It was awesome. She was, like I said, like when I stepped out of the ring and started doing other things, like the goal is very much when you start out wrestling, you want to work with people that are better than you. And in turn, you get better yourself. And obviously, she's an amazing actor. She's done some great stuff. So I was kind of wondering how, that dynamic was going to be, but honestly, I thought we had great chemistry. And, you know, we hit it off right away. And, you know, we both had a lot of dialogue the day that we shot those scenes in the radio station. And, you know, we were, you know, going back and forth, and honestly, a lot of that stuff we ad-libbed as well. And I remember one take in particular, we were just like, hey, let's just see what happens here. And we just started going back and forth. And I think the scene was probably going to be 2.5, 3 minutes long. And I think we probably went for like, it felt like 5 or 6. Like we just kept going. And then we just stopped. We didn't even hear Jesse say cut at all at any point. And then we stopped, and he gave us like even a little bit of a space there to make sure we weren't going to start back up. And all of a sudden we heard cut. He came in and goes, that was great. Like, you know, he just, you know, and that was another thing that I appreciate about Jesse as well. He really let us like put our own spin on these characters and kind of take some chances with them and do different things. And I think that really helped out as well. But like I said, I thought she was incredible. Like I said, I felt like I learned a lot from her just working and seeing how, you know, she prepares herself and how she operates and how she has her stuff together when you hear action.
Nice. Jesse, the history of like lineage in pro wrestling is known. There's always the son or daughter lurking, so to speak. Was there any inspiration to that, to Gina's character having that attachment to, I believe it's legends, right, throughout, and also the fact a strong woman in this role as well? Is there any importance?
I just think it was exciting to put a little twist on that kind of a character, because every, you know, most fight movies you have like the promoter type scenario. There was one movie that inspired me, that's for sure. It's a film called Any Given Sunday, Cameron Diaz, and I just love that film. It's one of my favorites, and I just thought that it would be really exciting to have a woman running a promotion like Legends, where it's a very male-dominated sport, very alpha, and you know, it definitely needed a certain kind of actor to play it. And Gina, she just had the right, you know, element. She's fierce, but she's also sexy, and she's just got such a presence about her. And it definitely needed a woman that could run the show and really, you know, where you could feel that just in the smallest way, you don't cross her, you know. And I think I thought she did an amazing job.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Jesse, I was waiting for the question to come in, and it has come in. So here we go, straight up. Will there be a sequel?
I'd love there to be one. Yeah, I love these characters so much, and I definitely, personally, I'm not done with them yet. So yeah, if the stars align, I definitely could see a sequel happening for sure.
All right, Mox, this one's coming in for you. Would you consider an MMA career?
No, I'm pretty good with what I got going on.
No, you went, no, I'm good. You heard him? He kind of went, nah. And it's the least amount of things he said the entire interview there. Awesome. Let's see. Who wants to talk to Jay? Here we go. Jay, talk to us a little bit about Saskatchewan. What was it like being over there and shooting film?
Well, it's always nice to go back to Canada. You know, it's obviously my home country. I'd been to Regina, Saskatchewan before. I shot another movie there a couple of years ago, and obviously I've wrestled there many times over the years. Fortunately, not this time, but the time before, I got to go in the summertime. This time was like the dead of winter. It was so cold, but you know, it's a great little city. You know, salt of the earth type people. Love going there. Yeah, I mean, it's a cool vibe. You know, it's a really it's a small city that feels like a bigger city. I don't know. I can't say that. I always enjoy myself. Always have a good time when I go there.
Fair enough. Okay, here we go now. Some more questions, more for a roundtable here. Starting with Jesse, was there something that now after you've seen the film that jumps out at you that you didn't see while you were on set?
In terms of a good thing or something I would change, or?
Yeah, open to interpretation as all things
are. Well, I think definitely there was some elements that I would love to play more with some green screen. I thought that was really exciting, the kind of the possibilities there. And, you know, if we were to get to make another one, I definitely would love to push the technology and really, you know, I think it's really exciting what you can do in movies or, you know, what you can do with the technology makes it, you know, bigger and more bold. And I'd love to kind of get my hands on some of that again.
Nice. Look at you. You're rubbing your hands together like an evil scientist. I
Yeah.
saw that on the bottom frame of the screen. Speaking of evil scientists, nice segue again. Mox, what jumps out at you? What surprised you? Like, I didn't realize that then.
I think probably just kind of the wholesomeness of Alex's kind of vibe as a good dude who you want to root for, kind of, especially like at the beginning, you know, like he's the 5-time champ of the world or whatever, and he's ninja kicking people off the fence and all that, but like totally humble, like really brought a sense of like humility to it, you know, to where you're like, you don't want to see him get beat up, you know, he's a good dude. And that for your first big acting thing to be like a lead role in a movie, that's a lot of weight to carry on your shoulders. You're like the charisma that's got to carry the whole thing through. And I thought he did like beyond expectations for his first ever, like that's a lot of, like I was in the same situation once, like in a WWE movie. I never acted before in my life, and they're like, do you want to do this movie? And I was like, okay. And then I realized, I thought it was like I'd be like the third bad guy extra and just be there for like a day and get shot, and I was like, that'll be fun, cool. And then I realized that I was like the lead in the movie, and I remember talking to the people on the phone like, you understand I'm completely unqualified for this, right? Like I'm not, I have no idea how to be like, I've never even been on a set, you know? So like, that's a lot of pressure to be like the lead guy in the movie and to be in every single scene. And so you got to keep it up like over a long period of time, over a couple months, and you got to be on point for everything. And I thought he did just such an exceptional job at being, just having bringing a humility and a charisma to the role.
Nice. I love it. I love seeing different sides of people, and the world gets to see it. So it's awesome. I don't want it to sound like anything more than, but I mean, without fight, like we wouldn't be doing this. So I guess on behalf of all of us, we say thank you. We still have a lot of questions coming in. I want to make sure everyone gets their just due. Jay, same question to you. What's going to jump out at you that you think is going to surprise you the most about the film that you didn't realize when you were on set?
Yeah, I think I think the job that Chuck did, I think that people are going to be surprised of I thought he did really well. I know he's had some acting experience in the past, but you know, and obviously I feel, and I don't know this to be, I haven't talked to him about it, but I felt very much like, you know, he's been coached so much over his MMA career, and I'm sure he's done a lot of coaching as well, but to maybe kind of take himself out of that element of being the guy that's getting prepared and putting himself into the position, preparing somebody to go in there. I don't know if he channeled his old coaches or how he did that, but I thought that he kind of made you feel that you know, look, I mean, he's iconic, right? The whole look, the mohawk, the whole look. And at some point you have to realize that it's not Chuck Liddell in the movie. It's the character that he's portraying, and I thought he did a good job of making people feel like that wasn't Chuck Liddell.
Interesting point. Jesse, you want to talk a little bit more about that? As such a recognizable face, you have to really pull from that in a unique way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I thought he did an amazing job. He obviously, coming from this world, he had a lot of real life stuff to draw on, and you know, he had his own relationships with his own coach, John Hackelman. And I thought the best way with Chuck was to kind of find the parallels in his own life and his own experience and draw from that. And some of those moments were really powerful, and really, you know, you have to dig really deep on some of those emotional scenes, you know, because he plays a mentor figure to Reiss, to Alex's character. And, you know, it's a bumpy relationship. And, you know, there was one scene where, like, you know, when he's talking about, you know, right before the rematch, and they're in the locker room, and he's talking about, you know, trying to give him a pep talk. He actually drew on his own fight with Randy Couture right there, like that. He changed the name to Mitchell, but he's actually talking about his own rematch with Randy Couture. And I remember when we shot that scene, the whole crew were like, you know, getting really caught up and really just caught off guard by how deep he was going. So I think it's a performance that he can be very proud of.
It's really interesting when you think about all these great names. So combat sports fans are all descending upon this film through pro wrestling, MMA, even boxing. So one name you just mentioned, I want to ask Mox about, and then a second name that's coming up here in the chat. So from the MMA world, Mox, the question is, who's your all-time favorite fighter? And the second question is, ask Mox about Tyson.
Not just because he's in the movie, but you got to put Chuck at the top of the list because he's just like the greatest, like badass dude of all time. Like he said, he's iconic, you know. Others though would be like Nick Diaz, Rich Franklin from Cincinnati. Yeah, the list. Justin Gaethje now is like at my all-time top of the list. And Tony Ferguson, just super entertaining, crazy fighters. Anybody that just goes out there and just goes nuts, I'm a fan of. But I don't respect anybody who even steps in a cage, man. So I'm a fan of just the sport in general. What was the other thing?
Now, ask Mox about Mike Tyson.
Oh, well, he'll be at Double or Nothing presenting the TNT Championship, and hopefully nobody pisses him off and he doesn't give him a 3-piece, you know.
Wait, so let me ask you this. So now you've done this fight thing. Do you look at Tyson and be like, yo, I think I could take him. I think I could take him down.
No. Would you?
I'm asking you. But my next thing,
training and sparring with like pro fighters, like as much as I did in preparation for this, really made me realize like how slow my hands are compared to like these like professionals who are just like Tyson at 56 could hit me 47 times in the face before I could get one punch off, you know.
It's tremendous. But I'll bet you Jay deep down thinks that he could get one in with the long arms, huh, Jay?
Got great reach.
See?
As soon as I find my range, you know, look out.
Man, let me tell you something. Jesse, John, Jay, you guys all found your range. What you did here was special. What we've done here is special. I think it's like the sun rising across the land, like New Year's. Here we go now. The next few stops throughout the day, Fans on Fight will be able to join after watching the film Cagefighter. Then they get their own unique round table. Similar to this, a few of you will be moving on. We thank you so much. Once again, we'll let you say your goodbyes. Jesse Quinones, producer, director, your final message for the fans that watch this film.
Just thank you for supporting. You know, like this is a project that was made out of love and passion. And, you know, we really wanted to give something that they could be excited about in these trying times. So hopefully you enjoyed it and spread the word about it.
There you go. Jay Rizzo, executive producer, your message to the fans.
I just think that, you know, first of all, thank, you know, Fight TV for, you know, giving the platform for this movie to be shown. Obviously, both MMA and pro wrestling fans are very passionate. And I just feel like both sides of this were really represented well in this film. So just, you know, glad it's exciting. The day is here that everyone can see it. And yeah, just thanks for watching and supporting it.
All right, Mox, take us home, bud.
Yeah, all those same things those guys said, and I just hope everybody had fun with it. You know, I mean, that's really the whole point of the whole promotion and getting it all together with Fight TV and stuff, was just to give people something fun to do and something to look forward to. And you know, everybody had fun putting it together, and you know, I'm just really happy with it, man. It's just a cool thing. It's like such a cool little thing to have done and to be a part of. I just hope everybody had fun watching it.
There you go. I think we all did. And on behalf of fight fans all around the world, I'd like to say thank you to these three gentlemen. I'd like to say thank you to all of our fans on Fight. My name is Matt Stryker. We'll see you out there.